What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Today we're going to be watching the World of Warcraft expansion reveal today that is officially being announced. Now, the big thing is I have been playing World of Warcraft for many years, and Shadowlands has been kind of a bust, so I'm kind of excited for this new expansion to come out and change things up a little bit. I already got my bingo board ready. Here are kind of some of my different predictions that I have going on for it. So obviously, Wrath of the Lich King classic call out. I think that there's going to be new race and class combinations. I don't think they're going to reference the sword at all. I think Chromatics is going to be making a little bit of a comeback. I also think that the Scarlet Crusade is going to be coming into the mix with a lot of the changes that they've been doing in Tears Fall Glades. We got also nerfing Alex Rouse's hotness, no flying until later on, aspect power because AP, improved time walking because they seem to be experimenting with going back to different places, more character customization since some of the other like races it's like they get like their ears changed and that's it. Like it's like crazy. Rafting, I think, is going to be making a comeback. I think that there's going to be new classes or class skins. I think there's going to be player housing, revamp of old zones, maybe a few. Possible classic plus because they got a new experimental team. More allied races, Dragon Isles, and no new BG. Dragon Covenants, Galakrond maybe making a comeback since there's some weird changes in the Wrath of the Lich King map. And on top of it, I think there's going to be a retcon of the original Dragon lore, profession rework because professions are a joke right now, and it being alt friendly, maybe possibly something that they want to work on in the future. And I think that there has to be a new leveling system. So that's something that I am thinking about. But we're just a few minutes from the reveal, and we will jump in as soon as it starts. I'll snap. All right, here it comes. The big reveal. All right. Alright, so we know it's going to be Dragonflight for sure. We just gotta wait for it to finally reveal itself.
For the Alliance!
I kind of wish that they did this during like a BlizzCon, but it's time for them to announce it. The next chapter. Alright.
For Azeroth!
Is the trailer gonna drop?
Hi everyone, I'm John Haidt, General Manager for Warcraft, and with me today are my friends Ian Hazacostas, who is the Game Director for World of Warcraft, and Holly Longdale, who leads up the production
All amazing
team
people
for WoW Classic. I really appreciate you tuning in. I know we're really excited to be able to give you updates on what's happening in World of Warcraft. But first, I want to thank our community for all the feedback you've given us this year, and especially
there's
our
been a
community
lot.
council, who've helped shape and influence the updates that we've done recently and what you're going to see in the upcoming year.
I mean, really, for Shadowlands in particular, the story of the last 9 months or so of this expansion is all about the community, and it's shaped by what we've been hearing from them, and us realizing as a team that we just collectively needed to do a better job of making sure the community felt heard, and so that led us to the changes we made in 9.1.5, but also really re-examining some of the assumptions and foundations of World of Warcraft about things like character investment and mains versus alts, or how catch-up should work, or the appropriate role of friction in our systems.
Okay.
And I think 9.1.5 represented a step in the direction of letting players have more freedom to play World of Warcraft the way they want to play it. And we really built our Eternity's End content update from the ground up around those principles.
What are some of the things that the community said that influenced your decisions for Eternity's End?
Things like the method and pacing of acquisition of the Covenant Legendary item, tons of tuning, and I think every step of the way, we were listening to make sure that we were carrying forward those lessons learned in the
Seems like they
course
want
of
to make it all
9.1.5
friendly. Alright.
into Eternity's End and beyond.
So WoW Classic came about because of the community.
Yeah, they continue to help guide and support us as Classic evolves.
World of Warcraft has always been about the world and the players that inhabit it, and we are in a lot of ways curators and caretakers of that journey and of that experience. And so once this classic community formed, and grew, we had to listen to them.
It's this tide of listening to the community. And
I really
paying
hope they do a
attention to what
Classic
is
Plus.
A good
That's my
experience
big
for our
thing.
players now.
If they do that, it would
and
be
where we really
great.
saw a sea change in this idea is with our Season of Mastery round, which is a Season of Fresh Start Classic. And initially we were talking about it like it was going to be like a fresh start. Let's try this experiment in a season. It'll be about a year long. And then when the community found out about it, we started seeing this upswell.
Yeah, the team just took that idea and ran with it and turned, what started out as a small community project into this Soul of Iron system that became a centerpiece of Season of Mastery and a whole new opt-in hardcore mode that we've seen communities built around.
I can't lie, it is
Lots
pretty
of,
good. I just not a big
thrilling
fan of
victory and
actual WoW
painful
Classic.
defeat.
5
More of a
hours.
fan of
5 hours.
Wrath of Lich King and
Yeah,
into
and
Burning
it
Crusade.
Continues like Burning Crusade Classic. We wanted to balance the Paladin seals between Horde and Alliance, so we made an addition there. We wouldn't have gotten there without the community's input.
So, influence.
So
the
nobody plays
community,
it now.
got Another update and pretty significant controversial change for this.
Yeah, cross-faction play coming.
Excited
in
for this
2025, which is
I have
on a
so
public
many
test
friends in
now
different
as
factions.
A big
Ian,
centerpiece.
cross faction. You're breaking with a 17-year tradition.
Yeah, it's something. It was not an easily made decision by any means, and I think this is another one of those areas where really we try to take to heart community feedback and requests and ask ourselves as a team whether there's a way to accommodate such an earnestly held desire and still feel like we're being true to the roots of the game. I think players desire to play with their friends who might prefer a different faction, or to play with the faction that they more closely identify with, even though their raid group is elsewhere.
It's really important for me. I play a lot of alts, and I love absorbing the story.
I just want to play my
Warden,
Warden, man. All my friends are on Horde right
All
now.
of my friends across factions is fantastic.
At the end of the day, the battle cry is for the Horde. It's not against the Alliance. It's not death to the Alliance. It's about pride in one's faction. And I think there's a way to preserve that and even strengthen that while giving players the ability to make the same choice we've seen the greatest heroes make time and time again.
I can't wait to do this. I'm seeing a lot of my friends that I never knew had a max level character in the other faction suddenly come out of the woodwork.
And then, with these cross-faction groups, many of them are going to be diving into something new that we're doing to kind of cap off Shadowlands, a Season 4. Kind of a remix.
I'm excited for
a bit
this
of
as
a
well.
greatest hits, revisiting all of our raid zones across the expansion, bringing in some familiar older favorites into the Mythic Plus rotation. And we recognize this is kind of
Except for people that voted
closing
Iron
chapter, a
Docs,
little bit
fuck
of
people
send-off
that did that
to
one.
Shadowlands. As everyone gets ready for what happens next and what will come next, want to give a fun new challenge for everyone to sink their teeth into.
Really cool stuff for modern WoW players. I'm super excited about the gear upgrades that you're going to give me and the chance to go back and play some of those
The
awesome
gear upgrade's
raids.
going to be really
There's a
nice.
lot to explore. Very exciting.
For our next adventure in World of Warcraft, we're going to go back to Azeroth. We're going to a space with high fantasy. I mean, our fans of Azeroth for a long time. This has been kind of the foundation of much of the lore of WoW.
Hell yeah.
So without further ado, let's watch the cinematic.
All right. Here we go. Big cinematic time. Oh, I'm so excited. Ah! 10,000 years ago. Is it the aspects gaining their power?
The world has been sundered.
No, well,
Cries
okay.
out in pain. We must go to its aid. We entrust our ancestral home to you, the Watchers.
What? What the hell?
Let the land slumber, hidden even from our own eyes. You will feel our return in the waking of the land. Then you must light the beacon of Tearhold, lest the path home be lost to us forever.
What? I'm assuming this is the Dragon Isles, but... We got like a Titan facility, but what the fuck is going on? Are these like Titan launchers or? Damn. Oh, this guy's falling apart and everything. Oh no, he's dead. No. There he goes. Is this where a dragon swoops in? Oh snap, that leak was real. Okay. Everybody was thinking it was like a Monster Hunter thing.
The world is healing, but her fate is yet uncertain.
Holy crap.
Together, we shall be Azeroth's protectors once again. Here, the new age of dragons shall begin.
Oh my god, that leak was real too. That is so interesting. Everybody was talking shit about this logo and saying it wasn't real. How it was so against the norm. And it turned out to be true.
Dragons!
Dragons.
This is so cool.
No one saw it coming.
No one saw it coming. Carefully kept secret. But seriously, I mean, what did we just see there?
The awakening of the Dragon Isles, the return of dragons, the dawn of a new age. Right, we've seen Rathian searching for his father's legacy, searching for the Dragon Isles. There's a reason why he hasn't been able to find them until now.
The beacon going off, is that summoning the dragons?
It is removing the concealment that had hidden the Dragon Isles from the world, but also beckoning the dragons back urgently in a time of need.
I assume
Yeah, I
pretty good
want to
variety
know
of
why.
locales within the Dragon Isles. It's
Yes, the Dragon Isles, as kind of standard for WoW expansion, consist of 5 zones, 4 standard leveling zones, and a new starter zone that we'll get to in a second.
Can you talk a little bit about how the team found ways to thread the dragon aspects throughout the environments?
The Dragon Isles are a place that is lush and primal, bursting with elemental energy.
Looks kinda
As
cool.
Azeroth herself
Kinda reminds me of
awakens,
Ardenweald.
Those primal forces are expressed throughout the environment, whether it's magma activity, volcanic activity, whether it's the icy wastes of the Azure Span.
Ooh, I
And
do
each
like
one
a
of
snow
those
zone.
has a connection to a Dragonflight that we've seen before. And it's going to be an amazing place for players to arrive at and explore.
all right. You know I'm going to ask.
Yes, okay, so
Can I be a dragon?
let's start getting into some features here.
Oh.
What Dragonflight means for you as well as just a place. So first off, yes, we have an all-new playable race, the Drakthir race.
Yeah.
This
Yes.
is a Draken, a draconic race, but dragons in Warcraft have the ability to take on a humanoid form.
What classes can they be?
They have unique abilities as literally a dragon. That doesn't quite fit any of our existing classes. And so what we're doing is this is not just a new race, but it's also a new class. You know, adding a new race to World of Warcraft, and not just an allied race, is something that we don't do lightly, but telling this expansion, this story, so focused around dragons, felt like the perfect time for it. So if you were a Drakthir, you will be the evoker class. Drakthir can only be evokers, evokers can only be Drakthir. And the reason why only a Drakthir could be an evoker is that an evoker is really combining the ability to call upon the magic of the different aspects with the unique physical gifts that a Drakthir has. The ability to actually take
There we
flight,
go.
do an Onyxia-style strafing deep breath over the battlefield, land on the other side, knock everyone back with a wing buffet, and then unleash your magical abilities.
Yes, please.
Okay.
The evoker has 2 specializations. They're a hybrid of either range DPS or healer. And they wear male armor. We figured, with the new hero classes we've added over the years, we have enough melee, we don't need more of those. And also probably don't need any more leather wearers.
The raid leaders are going to love you for that.
Exactly. This is definitely a hero class.
Definitely
And
gonna make
so
things
that
a lot
means that,
easier.
like the Death Knights before them,
Invoker, though, okay.
starting level 58, and then they're going to have a new starter zone. So they're going to have a slightly different journey into the Dragon Isles as opposed to the rest of us that are sailing there from other parts of Azeroth.
Can you talk a little bit about the customizations? Like what?
Oh, that's actually really
is gonna be
convenient
able
because
to
now with the
identify
level
my
cap being
Drakthir
60, it's just
character?
they kind of help out
Basically
like
anything and
jump right
everything.
into the expansion.
Skin color, hair color, jewelry.
Oh, they get a
tattoos,
humanoid
other
form,
adornments.
too?
You can make this character the expression of your identity in Azeroth.
New zone, new class,
Yep.
new race. Well, tell us about some of the system updates or features.
Of course, the new expansion brings with it, new systems, new features. I think in recent expansions, one of the things we've tended to do is really have these deep features that were closely tied to a specific expansion that would then get left behind as we moved on.
Yeah, aspect.
And we've heard
power.
loud and clear from players that, it's kind of a bummer to start off every new expansion by leaving a large part of your character behind, by leaving a large part of your progression behind. So this time around, what we're doing is really pouring all of our energy into permanent revamps, overhauls, and improvements to World of Warcraft's core systems. Things like
Really?
our progression systems, in this case, our talent system is something that we want to completely revamp. We want to take a look at our UI. We want to take a look at professions.
So with the talent revamp and the arrival of Classic, did you learn anything about how our talents work?
I think seeing a new generation of players play with those talents and work through those talent trees really underscored some of the things that, frankly, we lost when we shifted to the Mystic
Yeah.
Pandaria style talents and beyond.
That's the one thing. I
The
remember
piece
playing a
about it was
Frost
some of just the
at Tank
granularity, the
DK
feeling
for
of
the
getting a
longest
level
time.
and spending a point to customize your character to make yourself a bit better in some specific way, but also, that sense of hybridity that you could have. That's
Dual wield
something that we
tanking used to be a
largely
thing,
lost.
man.
And so
I
the new
miss it.
talent system avoids directly
yes. I
pitting
love
player
it.
power throughput choices directly against those sort of utility hybrid choices, because we know that there's always a right outcome there. And we also understand that there's a lot of strength in the flexibility of the modern
love that.
talent
That
system
is
to let
amazing.
players customize their talents for a particular encounter or for dungeons versus PvP, and we don't want to lose any of that.
So John, UI?
Oh my God. Yes, I got this 30-inch monitor trying to keep track of where I am on the map, all my buffs, and over here, what's going on in chat. It has literally made my eyes go like this. So,
And you're not alone in that. We've made a lot of incremental changes and additions over the years, but really this is a revamp, this is an overhaul. And so we're excited to really modernize the look and feel while staying true to the origins of World of Warcraft. At the same time, we're not looking to take away the sort of power user customization there. Add-ons are still there if you want them, but we want a much better default out-of-the-box experience for all players, new and old alike.
That's
can I
great.
reduce elements, remove elements. If I want to explore the world and see the beauty of Azeroth,
When it comes to specific elements, as much as possible, we want to let players choose what to show and what to hide so that they can control it themselves.
You mentioned professions. I have a critical question about this.
Oh, snap.
Can I wear a chef's hat?
yeah, I knew it.
Our approach to professions in Dragonflight is really all about delivering on fantasy and identity as a crafter. And so if you want to be a serious blacksmith, if you want to be a great leather worker, we want to deliver the ability to invest time and energy
Professions, there we
into
go.
that, become a master crafter, be able to make items that are in demand, interact with the community. One of the big pieces that we want to do to support that is a new work order system to have a bit more convenience than just spamming trade chat all day. But if you are someone, you're not yourself a blacksmith, but you have a bunch of mats and you want them forged into a great sword, you can put that work order up, list your mats, offer a commission, and a skilled blacksmith can come along and make you the weapon of your dreams.
I think we left
Oh,
out one
that's
thing.
really
though.
nice.
You can be a Drakthir, go to Dragon Isles, can I have a dragon?
What's the fantasy of dragons if not soaring over the lands? And so we're really excited to introduce a feature that we're calling dragon riding. It's dynamic with everything from momentum to dive bombs, the ability to just sort of build that speed up and feel the world rushing past you in a way that should be much more exciting than traditional flight that we've made available in the past, but that's also available for players through a customizable dragon mount right from the start.
So this is a skill you learn over time, right, to become an awesome dragon rider?
Yes, you'll be able to sort of upgrade aspects of your flight, but you will have this new form of flight from the start.
There is
And
flying,
the
so
dragon
I'll just
companion
put a
that
check
you
mark
have
there.
is, of course, very thoroughly customizable, which is a new thing for us for mounts. This
you get to
is
customize a
not
mount?
just a generic dragon that everyone has, but a drake that is yours. What do you want its scales to look like, horns, the shape of its head, other attachments, armor pieces, and more. Take your pick.
Hell yeah.
This is so cool.
So the Dragonflight expansion is going to see players leveling to 70, going to the all-new continent of the Dragon Isles, which consists of 5 zones, 4 standard leveling zones, and a new starter zone for our Drakthir class, as well as a range of systems revamps, such as a new talent system, an overhaul and update to our UI, and an entirely fresh look at professions with more depth than ever before. Also getting around the Dragon Isles is going to come in the form of dragon riding, which lets you customize and upgrade your own mount so that you can fly in a sense from the start. And of course, as with any new expansion, we have a new set of dungeons, a raid, and much more to come.
We also have an alpha that will be starting up in the future.
Check out our website for more information, and keep an eye out for those opt-in signups if you want to help us test out Dragonflight and give us even more feedback to make it better.
We do have a deep dive that follows this, so please
Yeah, I was about to say,
stay
I wanna-
around.
Deep
Classic
dive's
players,
important.
we haven't forgotten about you. You could probably guess where we're going to go next. One of the all-time favorite expansions for World of Warcraft. Let's watch the cinematic.
Wrath of the Lich King, yep.
We had forgotten. Did you think we had
Oh, that's kind of cool. It's the shattering of Edelmorn.
my king yet? My son, the day you were born, the very forests of Lordaeron whispered the name Arthas.
Hell yeah. Now this is my shit right here. This is the expansion that I went hard on. I love this expansion so much.
You shall be king.
Classic adventure begins. Yes. 2023. Oh, 2022. Classic. Yep. Hell yeah.
It's just incredible, isn't it? Every time I see the cinematic, I get chills. No pun intended, I get chills. As you saw, Wrath of the Lich King Classic is coming this year. It brings back so many memories. When you see that cinematic, what do you remember from Wrath of the Lich King?
Anytime you want to talk about undead frozen dragons, how can you not go back to Sindragosa as the source?
Watch
That
as
was
your
the
magic
first expansion I
betrays
played with
you.
my youngest son.
Oh,
So
man.
I can remember on that platform, black goo and chunks of ice falling off, and having to repeat that battle with the Lich King. But when we finally downed him, it was such an incredible moment. He jumped up out of his room, and I jumped up out of my office. We're like, yeah, did it. So it's a very lasting tale for me.
So as you know, with this expansion, you will, in pre-patch, be able to play the Death Knight. They will start at level 55. You don't have to have a high-level character to make a Death Knight, so everyone will be able to make one.
We're excited to give players some time before Wrath officially launches to get geared up and ready to jump into Northrend with everybody else.
And there are so many zones and areas to explore in
I love it.
Northrend. And I want us to talk about some of our favorites. So for me, Grizzly Hills has a very special place in my heart. The music was
found
some of the
Grizzly
best
Hills
I've
okay.
experienced in World of Warcraft.
I still make my way all the way up to Storm Peaks to try and find the time-lost protodrake and have yet to get it.
I've got to say Dragonflight. The wide open nature of the zone, Wormrest
That's my
Temple in the
favorite
center
zone
of
right
it,
there.
It's an unforgettable expansion as both a developer and a player, and kind of making that transition from one to the other.
Now let's talk about some changes. So one thing we looked at is Dungeon Finder, and it feels like how we envision Classic, Dungeon Finder is not a good fit for our community.
That was kind of the first step that may have eroded some of that social fabric. Now, as people have gone through the experience of going back to vanilla, rebuilding those groups, relying on each other, not wanting necessarily a random participant just to show up and then leave.
Yep.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
But today, you can do that in Shadowlands. You'll be able to do that in Dragonflight. It's a self-selected group of people who specifically want
Yeah,
that
I was about to say, we
experience.
don't really
Let's
want a
make sure
Dungeon
that's what we
Finder.
continue to give them.
That leads right into arena teams in Burning Crusade Classic. So we listened to the community and we removed that because individual rating is preferable and a better experience for them than arena teams. Also, with Wrath of the Lich King, Barbershop, which allows you to customize your character. We're going to be adding a few more options that were not existing when Wrath launched, but also there's another side of this where we are not going to charge a real money fee. It was a paid character customization fee, right?
Yeah.
It seems the right thing to do that just be available in game for gold and we add more options to it, right?
It's sort of like spell batching in a sense. There's a lot of technical advancements, and it's not about the philosophy of what makes Classic classic and what brings people together. It's just what's the better experience, and let's not artificially restrict something that
The
we
thing
can
is,
provide a better version
yeah,
of
these
just for the
features
sake
are
of
great, but
nostalgia.
it's just
This
I'm more
is-
happy
we're
just
happy
to
say
go
this is one of those
back
cases.
to that
So,
and
Wrath,
experience
the level
everything
cap's
else
being
out there.
increased to level
So,
80, so we'll be introducing a level 70 boost so that players who want to get in with their friends or just explore Northrend right away will be able to do that. You can't apply it to a Death
take
Knight,
it.
but you will be able to use it otherwise. And of course, we have Inscription, a whole new profession, so we're really
Yep.
excited about that. Yeah, and as we continue this road to Wrath, we're going to be looking to getting a lot more feedback on beta, and we'll make changes as we need to.
So they're gonna have
Such
the
an
boost,
exciting
but
time to be playing
it is
World
what
of
it is.
Warcraft. We have the return of the Wrath of the Lich King for Classic fans, and taking us somewhere new with Dragonflight. We're so excited to be able to bring these adventures to you. Don't forget, there's a deep dive on Dragonflight where you're going to get a lot more information. Thank you so much for spending this time with us, and we'll see you in Azeroth.
And we'll see you in Northrend.
And in the Dragon Isles.
alrighty. All right, the deep dive starts now. Okay, so we did get quite a few things here.
Hi there. Welcome to the Dragonflight Deep Dive. I'm Steve Denuser.
And I'm Taryn Gregory. Starting it off here, we're going to talk about the setting and the story of
One of the
Dragonflight.
community's most
We've got
hated
this great
people and one of the
expansion,
most loved
exciting
people.
pre-render trailer that everyone
Actually, don't
just
mind both
watched.
of these guys.
So let's talk
See.
about the setting for Dragonflight, the Dragon Isles.
Dragon Isles have been known for a long time in Warcraft history as a mysterious place where the dragons came from long ago, but we never knew much more than
It's
that.
very
We're going
cool.
to
I
this
love
place
it.
that is kind of the broodlands of all the Dragonflights, the place where they nested, where they built their civilization. The Dragon Isles was the center of the Dragon's kingdom when the world was young and the mortal races were just starting to form kingdoms of their own. But when the Legion invaded for that War of the Ancients, that sundering that resulted from the explosion of the Well of Eternity, broke the world.
Literal sundering of the continents of Azeroth.
And because
Yeah.
of the breaking of the world, that magic kind of drained away and the land went dormant. So they had to leave the Dragon Isles behind. And as we saw in the pre-render, they left behind some Titan Watchers to look over the land.
Yeah, I was
And
wondering
when
about that.
Someday they hoped that elemental energy would resurge once again and draw the dragons home, reestablish their kingdom.
And that's when the message goes out to the flights and they feel it in their bones.
Now it's the time for the sky to light up with the colors of the aspects once again, and for Alex Straza and the others to come home. But the land has changed a lot in all these thousands of years they've been away, and some very old threats have awakened as well.
We're looking into the culture
Yeah.
of dragons
I
as
was
they
about to say,
exist in
who are the
Warcraft.
threats going to be?
Dragons, as we know them today, were very different in the early past, the early history of Azeroth. They were much more primitive, much more savage, what we now know as proto-dragons.
And then some of the dragons were empowered to become the aspects. The green flight, red flight, blue flight, bronze flight, black flight, each with unique powers, each with the ability to protect the world in different ways. These pillars of draconic power appointed to defend Azeroth from threats within and without.
Yeah.
Dragons used that power both for good, in the case of most of the aspects, but also
And
for
then-
nefarious
yeah, I was
reasons
about to
in the
say.
case of the Black Dragonflight led by Neltharion, who would become Deathwing.
And what we will find in Dragonflight is that some
And
of these
Malygos.
ancient
Everybody forgets about
divisions
Malygos.
run deep. And so it begs the question, where do we go from here? If this is an opportunity to reclaim their legacy, to be the protectors, as the cinematic mentioned, that they once were.
To do that, they're going to need the help of our heroes, our players, to come to the Dragon Isles with them and face some of these reawakening challenges, because it's not just that this land is peacefully waiting for the dragons.
Yeah, that's what
to
I was kinda
return and
wondering. I'm
reclaim
like,
it.
it kinda
There's
advertised
those
it as
old
that.
enemies that have awakened as well.
Yeah.
One of those being a race of kind of elemental half-giants, the Jarradin.
The Dragon Isles isn't just populated by dragons or just by the Jarradin. There's also many other occupants here in the Dragon Isles that have been here
Oh,
either
man,
just recently or
boys.
for a while, including a fan favorite coming back, the Tuskar.
That's going to be awesome. We've got other cultures there as well in the Dragon Isles. We're going to find out about a civilization of centaurs that predates the ones that arose on Kalimdor much later.
And some of our
Oh,
favorite
interesting.
characters that we've seen over the last few expansions.
Centaur,
such as
yo,
Rathian.
Centaurs finally
And
get
whether
new
he's
models.
ready to step up into a leadership
Rathian, yep.
role,
We already knew
or
he was coming.
if there are other alternatives out there that would be better suited to the job of being the aspect of the Black Dragonflight.
I think one thing the players are going to be really excited about this expansion is the new playable race, the Drakthir.
That's right.
And
I
this
love
is
that
something
race.
that Neltharion, before he was Deathwing, before he went full crazy world dragon, that he put into motion.
Neltharion saw those primalists that were kind of breaking away from the aspects and what they wanted. And so, in those first experiments, he took the essence of dragons, their strength, their nobility, their wisdom, and he combined it with that scrappiness, that adaptability that the mortal races had. And he wanted to use that to create the ideal soldier in his mind, the Drakthir. Exploration is really one of the key themes of this expansion. We're going to be going to this ancient place that the dragons left behind long ago. So we've made these huge zones with all kinds of places to delve into and find little treasures and little secrets tucked
Yeah,
away.
it's
going to be a lot of fun
interesting.
for players to be
Sure.
exploring these landscapes.
And there's so much architectural history and how clearly aspirational
It's very,
is
like,
the
Greek
kingdom of
looking.
the dragons and how it lost so much. And the themes of trying to return to that, to try to find your legacy, to try to figure out who you were before everything went awry. But there's questions, thematic questions of what does it mean to be true to your legacy? Are we going to repeat the mistakes of the past?
The dragons have had to learn those lessons just like the mortal kingdoms have had to. And I think that's one of the reasons why the dragons see this now as the time that they have to return and they have to step up once again as protectors of Azeroth. We're helping the dragons because the dragons have helped us in the past too. So by using the Explorers League and the Reliquary together,
It still
that allows us
doesn't
to
really
delve
tell us
into
who
some
the
of that
enemy is.
history.
I guess they're trying
And
to
when
hide
I look,
it,
upon the Dragon Isles and all of its visual splendor, I get so excited for the prospect of a truly Azerothian adventure alongside Caligos, along
Oh,
with
Caligos
Rathian
got a new model, thank
Heavenborn, with Ysera's daughter Marithra.
His model
as each
looks
one of them is
awful right
trying
now
to
in game,
find
so.
their own flights. I am taken by the exploration and the potential for adventure and just new horizons within this world.
There's going to be old stories from that time past, that history that only the dragons knew for the longest time. We're going to be able to explore that.
It really
Probably get
feels
some
like
first
just
one
a
for
breath
as
of
well.
fresh air.
So now we're going to turn things over to some of our colleagues who will take you on that deep dive into the locations and the features of Dragonflight.
Features is the important one I want to get into. Waking Shores.
Hello, I'm Stephanie.
I'm Josh,
I'm Jackie.
And I'm Gary.
and we're part of the teams that are building the first two zones that you'll encounter in the Dragon Isles, the Waking Shore and the Onaran.
These guys are all relatively new, if I remember right,
The
too.
very first zone in Dragonflight you're going to come to is the Waking Shores. It's wild, untamed land. It's waking up around you too, and the elements are just going crazy.
The art team again has hit it out of the park.
You'll see like a lava mountain flowing in through the beach, giant proto-dragons
cool.
swooping down, gobbling up members of your expedition.
We have such rife opportunities to show elementals rising up because of the crazy magic that's flying around.
The one of the things I love is just how you get to the Dragon Isles, right? So you're gonna get on your boat in Stormwind or Orgrimmar, and the first thing you do is sail between like the dragon ruin architectures. The boats come right alongside each other. You can jump from one boat to the other and just start causing havoc on the other faction's boat.
For those who love PvP, this is a great opportunity for war mode.
It's free for all out there. It's gonna be great.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
But
Okay.
it's okay. There's an innkeeper on the beach, so that if you're in that situation and you don't want to be in war mode anymore, you can just hop out right there.
The Reliquary and the Explorers League are working together.
The Horde and Alliance are sending an expedition together. It's not the military, it's not the soldiers. This is the scientists, the settlers, exploring this new land.
You
So
know,
it's a lot
I kind of
more
like that.
optimistic tone.
That's
One of my
nice.
favorite things about the Waking Shores is the Red Dragonflight, led by Queen Alexstrasza, the Lifebinder. They have the mandate of nurturing and protecting all life, which means Horde and Alliance, Gorloks, trolls, everybody. So they take that duty seriously. When the Horde and the Alliance come to the Waking Shores, they want to be there to help guide the people through the new land and welcome them. But they're not the only one in the Waking Shores.
We have the ancestral home of the Black Dragonflight there too, which has fallen on tough times since Deathwing's descent. And so Rathian's coming over to the Isles with us, and he's gonna try and come to terms with the state of the Dragonflight, which is a few loyal Draconids and Dragon Spawn trying to hold their ground. What can the future of the Dragonflight be if it's just Rathian? Because it's not just the dragons that are coming back to the Dragon Isles, but also their longtime rival, the Jarden.
I love the Jardins so much. They're half giants that wield the power of magma. And
Oh, they're
when
kinda
the
cool. I
Waking
kinda want
Shores
them to
and the
be a
Dragon
race.
Isles went to slumber, they also slumbered. They're back now, and they are ready to raise chaos.
Yeah, they're massive. They're riding giant lava mammoths, parading around, just stomping on your face.
And they were the enemies of the Dragonfly for so long. They fought against the Red Dragonflight, hunted dragons down, and they're really taking this opportunity to rise up. As the Red Dragonflight have the mandate of nurturing life, they don't want to just stomp out the Jarden completely, but they want to make sure that they don't have the power to affect those around them, to make sure they
one of
don't
our faction's
go
probably
on a
going to end up
rampage and
joining us.
destroy
We
the
kind of
ecosystem that
help
has
wipe
been
out
created
most
here.
of them,
And
but
so
we
those
get
are
some other
awesome things in the
factions
Waking
like
Shore.
this.
But Seth, there really is only one right answer for the best thing in Waking Shores, right?
What?
This is true. Ducks.
We finally
They
have those
added
web
ducks.
feet hooligans in our game. We cracked the technology.
They
We've
can
got them
figure
in.
it out. They
Yep.
can fly.
I
You
love
should be
them.
proud.
Thank you.
It's gonna be awesome.
The Onaran Plains come right after the Waking Shores. It's so breathtaking at first glance.
The Onaran plains are big, wide open plains. And the player is going to be constricted a little bit, and then you see this big contrast of a zone. We don't always get that opportunity, that cinematic moment where the player can have a framed view when they see this area.
Come out and you got that postcard shot
love
of the
that.
plains. And then you see this giant fire proto-dragon breathing fire and a herd of centaur like harpoon down the proto-dragon and crash into the ground. And the first thing you get to do is go help them kill the proto-dragon. Like, how cool is that?
Who
Okay,
is
that's pretty
Onara?
badass.
Onara is the wild god of the wind. And she's appeared before as like this big spirit eagle. She's the one who guided the centaur to the Dragon Isles many, many years ago. She blessed them, took their caravan across, and then showed them the plains.
How fun at the beginning of this expansion was exploring the culture of the centaur.
The centaur are these mighty, awesome hunters that back when they first came to the Dragon Isles, they fought the green dragons all day long. Eventually they realized that we're strong, you're strong, maybe we should stop decimating each other's people. We'll make peace, we'll make an agreement. You guys hang out in the groves and the centaur will hang out in the plains. But now the dragons have been gone for 10,000 years. And the centaur have come so far since then. And they've been here and they've been existing and developing their culture. They all came over as one clan led by the mighty Maruk and Tira, and they founded a new life here. So if you want to get across, you have to follow their rules and their traditions. You have to earn their trust. You are the first outsiders to come in generations upon
Do I get a
generations.
centaur mount?
The centaur might rule the open plains, but the green dragons make their home in the groves. And those groves are absolutely
Oh, it's
gorgeous.
Ardenweald, but green.
And how great a job it is that we have where I can take all of this beautiful artwork and build these beautiful fantasy groves, high fantasy. We want to do lots of things with an open plane, and we want to be creative with that. But we're restraining ourselves by letting the zone sing, letting the horizon tell the story. We certainly couldn't have done that in the vanilla WoW.
No, definitely not. The zones are so big and you can see so far, especially in Onaran Plains. So we talked to the engineers and we actually increased that distance.
It
Oh, they
spurs you
increased the
on
distance.
to want to
Okay.
adventure and look through the zone and explore everything.
The interesting thing for me is we have all these conflicts with the dragonflights. There's missing dragons, there's battles, there's so much crazy stuff happening, but that's not really all we're doing. There's so much extra fun activities for people to do. And the greatest thing is that you need to figure out exactly what's going on and help solve all the problems that are just sprouting up everywhere.
We're just really excited to tell a story
sorry.
that's grounded in Azeroth and exploration. There's so much more to talk about. But now we're going to have some folks
it's
talking
cool.
about the next
It's
two
aight.
zones that players are going to experience in the Dragon Isles.
Is this the winter area? Because that's the one I'm really excited for.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kate.
I'm Christy.
I'm Kate.
I'm Sean. We're
Too many
going to talk
Kates.
today about Valdrassus
Get rid of
and
them.
Azure Span.
I was
So
messing.
Azure Span is going to be the third zone. That
That's the
players
one I
adventure
wanna look
through,
at.
And it's one of our biggest zones that we've done in the Dragonflight, maybe even to date.
We knew it was going to be like the largest visual elevation change, and it really started with this great concept art. When we first were taking a look at the design, we
Yeah,
kept
I
coming back
love it.
to one of our favorite Wrath zones, which was Grizzly Hills. And we really wanted to take that, but wowify it more. And I don't know if you've ever been up to the Bay Area, but in the morning, that coastal fog comes in and dips down into the redwoods and that sun shines through. That's really what we wanted to encapsulate with this forest. And not
Wow.
only we have redwoods, we've got all different types of trees. Eventually, it'll break open into this wide open tundra that just
Oh,
golden
kinda like-
and red.
looks like,
and you'll reach up to
Azuna and,
another
Jara.
level of elevation where you get to see the snow. The majority of the zone is covered in snow and ice. We have giant frozen waterfalls, ice rivers as far as the eye can see. And Sean, I know in the forest, we can expect our first creatures.
We have a small group that lives there called the Gnolls. These gnolls are all throughout the forest in Azure Span. They've made this their home. Some gnolls with strange magic that we're going to find out what exactly that's about. Snow gnolls, or as I call them, the snolls.
Oh, gnolls
up
get
in
new
the
models. I
winter
just realized
area.
that.
And
They
some
also
regular
had
gnolls are just gonna be around
really
the forest
terrible
area. So then we
models.
go into the big open tundra where we meet our second group,
Tuskar.
the Tuskar.
It's going to be really neat to explore their culture a lot more.
And those kids are adorable. I absolutely love the Tuskar. Honestly, all my downtime is probably just me hanging out with the Tuskar.
So it's been a little while since we've seen them. The
Yes.
Tuskar from Wrath of the Lich King. They're also getting a nice, cool upres for their models, along with expanding their culture. So there are going to be male Tuskar, female Tuskar, Tuskar kids. So we're going
Yes.
to fight alongside them, which
love it.
includes help from a certain group of dragons, the blue dragons. We're going to follow the story of Kalagos, our
Looking
blue
great, by
dragon
the way.
buddy from the Kirin Tor.
Looking
and
great,
he's gonna
buddy.
be adventuring into Sindragos' archives. It's a giant zone. There's a lot of
Sindragos'
surprises. When we're done there, we head over
archives.
to
Ooh.
Valdrassus.
That's an interesting one.
It's really incredible because you will be going through some of the previous zones and seeing a lot of ruins for the dragon buildings. But when you get to Valdrassus, everything is perfectly intact. It's beautiful. It's pristine. It is the seat of power for all 5 dragonflights and home of the
Interesting.
dragons. It feels that way with the huge vertical mountains. We've got these great cave systems where you may end up finding little dragon hordes.
My favorite Dragonflight right now is the Bronze. They've got a really cool
Yeah.
area in Valdrassus, and their magic is time. There's so many cool story hooks that we could dig into there. There's so many cool gameplay options. And we have a little bit of an adventure for players. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I can't wait.
We really wanted it to feel like their old stomping grounds. One of the really cool features is going to be the main city and player hub for this expansion, Valdraken. It is a culmination of all of the dragon's efforts to put together what a city would look like. So we ended up having a bunch of really fun small vignettes where you see that the blue dragonflight is hosting a public library, and the red and green dragonflights both have
like
their
a
own separate
gardens.
gardens.
Yeah.
We'll also have some convenience services for players, including an auction house in the city, which will be really nice if you're looking for more exotic wares.
Oh no, engineer
the thing
only
that really
thing.
sold me on Valdrassus
assassin.
was the initial concept art we got of Tierhold.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. And this is a 10,000-year-old Titan technological marvel. Tierhold has these awesome aqueducts that actually come out from the structure all the way to the city across the valley. And in the cinematic, there's just this amazing shot where you see Alexstrasza swoop under one of them, and there's splashes of water cresting across her wings. So when players are flying around themselves, they get to have their Alexstrasza moment. What an incredible place, and filled with so much history.
Tierhold was built by Tyr. He was a Titan Keeper
Yeah, I was about
back
to say,
in
it
the
has
day
to
who
be
helped
Tyr that
the
built it.
Aspects fight Galakrond. And when they settled on the Dragon Isles, he built this facility. And even though Tyr's gone, the dragons have held him in reverence. But that was 10,000 years ago, and they've let the Titans maintain the place. An incredible amount of history has happened since then. Flights have been nearly wiped out. There have been invasions, betrayals. Aspects have died. And these are the kind of things that leave marks on a society. So
they
now they're all
mentioned
back
Galakrond,
here,
so I guess
and they're
they'll
all
add
here
them.
together.
As we were designing the zone and the city itself, we're trying to figure out, how do we tell those stories at the same time as making sure that this is a really convenient place for players to go and, go shopping, as they tend to do. So much adventuring happening on the Dragon Isles.
It's so cool.
As a player, you probably don't have your own dragon wings. You are going to learn the art of dragon riding.
This looks very
so
cool.
vertical,
This is
and
what I'm
I'm just
very
excited
excited for.
to like dive off the tops of towers
Because I feel like
swoop under
flying
things.
and making it more dynamic is very important. Because flying around Stormwind and all that's always fun because like you're dodging and weaving.
Hi,
but, like
I'm
having
Jake.
it to where you get
I'm
extra
Andy.
animations.
I'm Callie. And I'm Graham. And I'm really excited to talk to you guys today about the Drakthir Evoker, our new race and class coming in Dragonflight.
We're here to talk about not only the Evoker, but also dragon riding, which is our exciting expression into the exploration of the Dragon Isles.
We knew with a dragon-themed expansion, we wanted to let you play a dragon. Not a big dragon, Alexstrasza size. That'd be
Now,
tough to
is
fit
it
into raids.
only
I'm
an
sorry,
invoker,
Jake.
or is there
Nice
other
one.
options
But
you can
a
do with
draconic
it?
humanoid. So the Drakthir, created by Neltharion.
And like our other hero classes, you get to choose if you want to start on the Horde or Alliance side on character creation.
So let's talk a little bit about the Evoker, the class they can be. What's unique about it is because the Drakthir are created by an aspect, they have the ability to wield the magic of all 5 Dragonflights. So Evokers can take advantage of red magic and blue magic and bronze magic.
Oh,
And to
okay,
show
so it's
that,
more like a
we
demon
created
hunter
a
type
visual,
of
what we
vibe.
call a
Okay,
prismatic
so
effect.
it's
This prismatic effect is basically the coalescence of all their energy as they channel it into whatever spell that they're going to cast. You have a red magic spell called Pyre. So when you shoot it out of your mouth, it twirls in the air with all 5 of the Dragonflight's magic as it turns into the red spell before landing on your enemies and exploding and hopefully burning them. And
I'll take that one.
Getting that vibe across that they use all 5 was really important to us, but we did want to make sure that each specialization focused on 2, because casting 5 different colors gets a bit messy. So their damage dealer specialization, their first of 2, Devastation, mostly focuses on red and blue magic. Red being very fast and explosive, burning everything with Pyre, whereas blue is more focused and overwhelming. You can shoot a beam of energy out of your mouth to disintegrate one single enemy in front of you.
there's a healer spec called Preservation. The healer spec is going to focus mostly on your green and your bronze magic. So your green is going to be evocative of the Emerald Dream, your growth and your nurturing spells. And then you have your bronze magic, which is going to be more timey-wimey. So you get to heal a wound faster.
So in addition to the visuals and the animation, which all make you feel very powerful, we really wanted the player to have a physical connection to the cast. We have a new type of spell called Empower, where when you actually hold down the button on your keyboard, it charges up the spell. The longer you charge it up, it might do more damage or hit more targets depending on the spell, but it gives you this really physical connection and control. That's
kind of
Warcraft, and
cool.
I
It's
think
like
is
all
feeling really,
channeling
really good.
spell.
We
that
have
you
some
could, like,
great
hold down.
animations. Thank you, Andy, your team.
Love it, Andy.
You feel physical when you're casting your spells.
You can actually fly around the battlefield and cast while you're flying.
Raining fire and death from above. It's great.
In addition to the gameplay,
Yeah, it's
though,
a very
another
cool
part of feeling
spellcaster, for
draconic
sure.
is looking like a dragon.
Well, we talk about dragons breathing fire, but you know what's actually fire?
What's actually
These
fire?
customizations.
Oh my goodness.
But no, they're really, really
They're
cool.
awesome.
Because you have both your draconic form and your humanoid form. And the customization options for both of them are amazing.
They're very good.
What about color? Just tell me you
tell
can
us about the
change color.
You can do a lot of matching. So your visage form can have scales that are the same color as your Drakthir form.
But my favorite, super favorite part of
Nice.
customization for the visage form, hair.
Yeah.
Because I can actually do this in game.
Yeah.
The tech is here.
We finally did it.
As
Oh, yeah,
players
you get to
make
do
their
colored
way
hair.
through each
Okay,
of the areas
that's kinda
of
cool.
the Dragon Isles, They'll partner up with the Dragonflights to move through the air as they've never done before. You'll notice I did not say flying, because flight has a very specific meaning for World of Warcraft.
Yeah, it does.
And we're talking about something new called dragon riding.
And as the players are honing their dragon riding skills, they're going to get to see all new animations that go along with the different look and feel of the drakes.
We're aiming to shake up movement with this new system, providing players with a deeper immersion with forces like momentum and gravity.
We knew that for Dragonflight, we were going to have the opportunity to show players a whole new set of Dragon Isle drakes, completely unique.
Yeah,
from
I
all the other
love
things
that,
we've
like,
seen in World
going
of
down and
Warcraft.
then it speeds
so
you up
we
and then
wanted
you
to come
can,
up
like,
with a
zoom
movement
out.
system.
It's one of my
that would
favorite
add
things.
that sense of physics, weight,
Yep,
and gravity.
I was about to say,
like you were
add a sense of
mentioning.
physics
We
to
knew it
it.
was going to take a huge team effort, not just animation, but it was going to take effects. It was going to take the engineering team, who we rely on heavily, and that combined with some new animations really helps to lend that feeling of physics as you move through the air in ways that you haven't before. And the icing on the cake is going to be some really cool effects that we've added on top of all of that. So for example, when you start hitting, maximum velocity, you're going to see contrails coming off the edges of the wings. And then as you do your rolls and spirals, you build up more and more speed. There's going to be some screen effects on the display to indicate that you're reaching maximum velocity.
That's very cool.
Which
It
really
adds
adds
a lot more.
to the overall kind of
Yeah.
immersion and sense of reality.
As
put
players
the
make their way through
best.
the Dragon Isles, they'll discover new cosmetic options to fine-tune their Dragon Isle Drake's appearances. Things like snoots, horns, tails, elusive Dragon Isle Drake armor, and more.
Can I have spikes?
Definitely.
Okay.
We want
Yeah,
to provide
all about
players
them
with
spikes.
all new skills to play with, as those who can use their momentum well can reach higher and higher heights and bring on new, more difficult challenges.
We just have so many new gorgeous options to choose from, and I'm just so excited for all of them.
I'm excited for the whole thing. I mean, it's been a lot of fun to work on, but I can't wait to actually get in the game, play it with you guys.
I can't wait. I can't wait to fly around Dragon Isles. It's gonna be great.
Next up, you're going to hear about the talent revamp and the UI changes coming in Dragonflight.
All right, let's see this.
Hello, my name is Brian.
I'm Crash.
I'm Jay.
And I'm Laura. We are very excited to share we are finally revamping the WoW HUD UI.
And it is also time for a major revamp to talents and specializations.
I have a big question for the group. How long do you think it took for us to finally revamp the WoW HUD?
My guess is like 15 years.
Close, 18 years.
18 years.
18 years.
Wow.
You know, technology has changed a lot since we made the UI back in 2004. Now you have like bigger monitors, and we have better dev tools to work with. So it makes sense to have the revamp right now. Also, if you look at the game today, the art evolved beautifully over the years. And if you look at the HUD looks like it got frozen time.
So when we
I
approached
was about to say, I
we
can't
wanted
lie.
to
It looks like it's
create
still like
a
in
layout
2003,
experience that
if not
players
even
could
earlier.
Customize, move things around, adjust it to fit their needs.
Add-ons today, they do a lot for player customization.
The downside is that not everybody uses them. It's about time that everybody has the opportunity to use them, that they become a part of the base UI.
Yeah, and we are working very closely with our user research team to make sure we are hitting the goals that our player needs.
It allowed us to add new functionality to improve accessibility in a lot of areas. And on top of that, we are going to be improving the art.
Yeah, so the art update, it's a big part of this project. The UI that we have today has a lot of charm and personality, and players have been using that for 18 years. So with that in mind, we want to respect
I'm okay
the
with
players
the
who
new
really like
UI.
the current UI, but
The
do
new
a more
UI
take
was
to it. Removing
way
the clutter
better.
and giving more visibility for your gameplay. So
Yeah.
the new minimap, it looks bigger, and the health bar is also much bigger. If you look at the action bars and the bottom menus, they have less
Health
frames,
bar,
and you can really open up your gameplay, so you don't have a lot of your UI in front of you. And of course, we want to find iconic pieces from the current HUD, but we want to bring it back in a nice way. So we for sure updating the Griffins. They look so nice now. And the Horde, don't worry, we got you. We're gonna have your version as well. So let's talk about the edit mode.
We are putting a mode in that will let players move various HUD elements around on the screen.
So I'm able to move the mini-map, say, from the right corner all the way over to the left corner. Or if I want to bring my action bars from the bottom and
I don't
put
like
more
the
in
health
center by my
ones.
character. Those
I
are
like
all
everything
things that
else.
I'll
Like
be able to
everything
do.
else in this,
Absolutely.
great.
And each
Love
of those
it.
different
I
components
don't like
will
the
have
health.
various sets of
It makes me
options
feel like
that
I'm
you'll be
playing
able
like
to
a
work
Wild
with.
Star or like
They'll
a
be able
brand
to
new
save it,
MMO
edit
that-
it, copy it, name it. Also, It'll remember which spec you're in. So if you're someone who jumps around a lot, as you switch, it will switch to whatever HUD layout you have for that spec.
This is an ongoing project. We're gonna keep working on it. So we really wanna hear back from you.
A project that we're all excited about that we've been collaborating a lot on is something that's pretty UI intensive, and that's the talent system.
It hadn't changed in a long time, like you said before, and we really started with how can we have players have more choice over what their character has?
As you level up, we give you a new spell or a new ability, something that kind of makes you stronger, but it's determined by the designers. We decide the order.
Yeah, we started looking for a system that would give players a much wider set of options.
And after looking at all those things, what we really returned back to was the idea of trees. But it's actually 2 trees. We have a class tree that offer different class utility, and then we have a spec tree that is focused on performing.
I love
your
this
role,
so
whether
much.
that's
This
damage,
is the
tank, or
game
healing.
changer right here.
Can I just jump in and say that I personally am super excited about having trees come back. There's a big nostalgia hit for me.
As we said, we have these 2 trees because we feel like picking a specialization is a really important part of your World of Warcraft character now. And so we want to make sure that when you choose that, it kind of affects the tree in some way.
Yeah, as soon as you open your talent tree, you'll see something new. The class side will have some abilities filled out for free, just kind of starting you off in that spec you've chosen, but then you'll have your first point to spend in the class tree, which could be something related to that spec or role, or it could be something from elsewhere in the class.
There's a lot of things that we can do here, and part of that is encouraging players to perhaps make combinations that they've never really been able to see in the game before. This is an opportunity to put a lot more art and fantasy in the actual talent UI itself.
I love this so much,
that
but
a lot through most recent
my
expansions.
issue is a lot
but
of
not the base
websites are going to be
UI.
like, oh,
We
you
want you to
should
be
build
able to
this way or
tinker
this
with it.
way.
You know, we want
I
you to
really
be
hope
able
that
to make
there
a
is a
lot of
lot of
changes at a
different
lot of
builds,
times and not
kind of like how
necessarily
Obliteration
have to
and
commit.
Breath
The power
Cinder
really
Ghost
is
build
coming
is
back
for
to the
across
player.
DK.
It's not something we want
Multiple
people to
different
feel
play
locked
styles.
into. And so one of the things that we'll be preserving is the ability to change these talents at the same kind of frequency that you do now.
Yeah, the old school players, when you see trees this time, just think, yeah, I'll go from my raid night to my arena match and figure out what I think is the best for both of those.
And that's a process we want to make really fluid. So we're building a save load feature that lets you
Oh,
create your build,
yes.
name it,
Beautiful.
save it, and then
Thank
load it
you,
up very
thank you,
quickly.
thank you, thank you.
Talents were really about the
Yes.
breadth of options.
Exactly
We've
what
made
we
all
need.
these different cool things over the years, but when are they at their coolest? It's when players can hold the building blocks of what can make up their class, their spec, and put them together in a way that works for them.
So
Bingo, you
these
nailed
are
it.
really cool features that we've been working long and hard on, and we're very excited about them. And
One of the
just
things I
an
do
early
like,
preview
it's
of the
like an
things we've been
all
doing.
like young
We can't
team,
wait to
and
see
then
the
like you
reaction
get like
that
the
you have
old
to them,
veteran
and
over
please
there in the
reach out to
corner.
us and let us know your thoughts on them. And next up, we're going to talk about professions in Dragonflight.
All right, let's talk
I'm
about
Joanna.
these professions.
And I'm Eric, and we're going to talk about our plans for
All right.
professions in Dragonflight.
Actually,
Professions
make
have
them
been a
matter,
staple of World
please, for the
Warcraft
love of God.
forever,
Not
and they've
just
seen
with
lots of really cool
legendaries.
incremental updates over their life.
Swear
But
to
for
God.
Dragonflight, we want to do something a bit different. We really want to rethink professions and figure out how to make them part of your identity as a player, if that's what you want.
We really want to make sure that professions feel fun and relevant across all levels of gameplay.
That brings us to our first update, something that we're calling crafting.
They every
order.
expansion, but you don't do it, so
If
you
you
better
want
do
to
it.
have something crafted for you, but you don't have the skill or the right profession to do it for yourself, you can have it crafted through a crafting order. You can basically browse any of the recipes that can be crafted, pick the one you want for yourself, and then you include some or all of the reagents needed for the recipe, including ones that only you can get your hands on. You can find someone in person to do it right in front of you for you. Or you can also go to an NPC and using an auction house-like interface, send the order out. If you're doing this, you can pick, do you want to send the order to anyone, sort of a public order, or do you want to only send it to your guild, or to a specific other player? Maybe it's a friend who you know will be able to craft the item really well for you.
If you are really dedicated to your craft, you're going to be the best at what you do.
One of the coolest things about this is the item you had crafted can also be soul-bound. In the past, you could only get your hands on crafted soul-bound items by having that profession yourself. Now anyone can have them crafted for them, which is really neat and really expands the number of items that we can provide that are really powerful because everyone can have them crafted through the crafting order system.
This is Also really cool because it means as a crafter, you can start building your client base. People are gonna come back to you to get certain items. Maybe you're the best at making it, or you always throw in a little
Okay,
something
so
extra.
now it's got like
You're
a quality
also
thing
gonna
on
be
there.
leveling up your profession. It's gonna be really great.
So the first time you go to craft, you're gonna notice a lot of different things, but probably the biggest is the introduction of quality, both to your crafted items and your gathered reagents. Quality works in a pretty simple way. If you craft something that's a higher quality, it's just gonna be better. For a piece of gear, that probably means a higher item level. If it's, for instance, a potion, that might mean a more powerful effect at a higher quality.
It was a bad
we're
time
doing
to
a
be
lot
an
of new things
engineer
in
because I don't
UI.
really
We've
make,
put a lot of work into it to make sure that the professions feel
besides
really
like
special
guns,
and
I don't
unique.
really
And another thing you
make
might notice
anything.
in the crafting UI that's new is the
Feels bad.
introduction of stats, specifically to your professions, both crafting and gathering. And this is another sort of major input into quality. Probably the biggest source of your ability to craft items at a higher quality is through crafting specializations. We've had crafting specializations in the past, as far back as original World of Warcraft. With Dragonflight, you can go out and earn specialization points in a whole bunch of different ways. So maybe you find an old book on a bookshelf in a ruin somewhere, or a hermit in a cave who can teach you a little bit about your profession. So let's say you're a blacksmith. You might decide that first you want to become an armor smith. And the more points you spend in armor smithing, the better you're going to get at crafting all armor.
This also means that if you specialize one way, other people in your guild may specialize in a completely different path. So this means that your guild could have several top blacksmiths and everybody is providing something
But
unique and valuable to
here's the
which is
issue.
really cool.
Now that
What
reminds me
if
of
I go really
another
hard
update.
on
We're actually
goblin
adding
engineering,
crafting
and then I also go
tables
really
to
hard
all
on
the
gnome
different
engineering, and
crafting
I'm just a
professions.
master of
We're gonna
both?
take those, and we're gonna put them all in the main city of Valdrakken, and you're gonna go in there, and you're gonna get to see all the different players crafting their items at their cool crafting tables.
Yeah, it means you're gonna walk into the city and you're gonna see like all these alchemists huddled over here, and you're gonna see all these blacksmiths over by the forge. There will be other players filling orders or grabbing orders. There's gonna be a whole new crafting area that's gonna make you feel really part of the world.
It just seems like a much more lively area than it has in the past.
What I'm most excited about though is the gear. We're introducing new types of gear for every profession. And when you go to say mine and node, you're actually gonna just switch into that gear. It's gonna be really great.
You're not gonna have to carry that stuff around in your backpack anymore. There's actually gonna be dedicated slots for each of your pieces of gear. But I'm a numbers guy, I love progressing. All pieces of profession gear will have those special stats that we mentioned before on them. And as you get your hands on better versions of the gear, it's really gonna help you get better at your profession.
I can't wait.
Okay, I'll take it.
Thank you for tuning in to the Dragonflight Deep Dive.
You've heard a lot about the content and changes coming in Dragonflight, and we've got a lot more in store for you in the coming months.
Until then, we'll see you in Azeroth.
All right. There's some minor changes, nothing crazy, but some steps in the right direction. Uh-oh. Black screen. Oh, no. Oh, that's it. That is it. Alrighty. Well, I guess that is the expansion. There wasn't as much as I thought there was going to be. I expected them to give us like a little bit more of a deep dive and everything, but I guess it makes sense. It's just the expansion review, and they just wanted to show us a little bit of things. So we know that it's going to be the Dragon Isles now, which is really, really cool. We know that there is going to be a new class called the Invoker with the Dragonkin race. So that is interesting because it's going to be a hero class. I was kind of hoping that the dragons could be different classes and all that jazz, but it seems like they're just going to be male users of the Invoker class. So it's going to be similar to how like a Demon Hunter is. So it's not really like a new class. It's like a new like heroic like race class, like one word, like all together. Raffian's coming back, which is awesome. Really cool to see that. Wrath Lich King. There looks like there's not more allied races, but there's just a new race. Galakron was mentioned. They mentioned a lot of old foes, so I'm assuming that Chromatus is going to be coming back. They didn't mention any aspect power. They are giving us flying right at the beginning. No Dragon Covenants. They didn't mention BGs. They didn't mention any old zone revamps at all. They didn't mention player housing. There's a lot of little things that they didn't mention, but overall, pretty cool stuff. Be sure to comment down below what you guys thought about Dragonflight. It seemed a little bit lighter, but I'm sure that they will have more information as time goes on. And yeah, so I'll see you guys next time.